Hello and welcome to the Dripping Hartnell Podcast. I'm your host, Connor Chadwick, and I'm joined by Aidan O'Connor,
Hello.
Abby Louise,
Sure, no.
and Jimmy Wolfe.
Hello.
And on today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about the 2024 Doctor Who Christmas special, Joy to the World. It's a little bit overdue, but we got here in the end. So, everyone, thoughts?
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
The end.
I mean, that's it. I liked it. There are certainly other Christmas specials that I prefer, but it was fun. It was a good, fun Christmas special, and I think personally, a lot of the sort of reactions that I saw to it online, there was quite a few people being not overly negative about it, but I think it's one of those things that it had gotten to the point where I think people expect a lot from the show, and it's like Russell's back. He's just doing a fun Christmas special. This is how it used to be. So in that respect, I've got to, hand it to him that I think he's put it back on the ground that he started with when it comes to the Christmas specials. It's not
Yeah.
this huge, great, massive event that's linked back to the other series. I think I mentioned this when we were talking about it just between us before, as I think this is actually one of the first standalone Christmas specials we've had since about sort of, I think, potentially quite a way back. All of them have sort of either
2016,
linked
wasn't it? 26?
2016. They've all either linked back into the previous series episode, the finale, or they've been sort of in between something else, or they've joined up as a different sort of parter. So to have a standalone Christmas story again was nice. It wasn't bad. It wasn't hugely amazing, but it was fun, and I think that's what people want at Christmas.
Yeah,
Mm.
I agree. It really seemed like kind of just a fun ride. Like I mean I think that's like for most of Russell's and then some of Moffat's Christmas specials, they very much seem like little bite-sized bits of like Doctor Who at Christmas that you can enjoy. That's just like this is one of the many adventures the Doctor goes on when he's on his own. That he just kind of he's hopping about a place. I mean, the way I look at it when he just arrived, even when he arrives. I just see it as, oh, he's just popped up here. This is just one of his many days, like that he just does on his own.
Mm.
Hmm.
Indeed. And
Thing. Sorry, darling, go on.
no, 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 no. I was gonna say, and Abby.
Oh, hello. That's me. Um, so I love the concept. I do. And Russell does tend to do kind of family friendly episodes. So it was definitely fun and Christmassy. I did enjoy that. My only issue with this particular episode was
Hmm.
the underuse of Nicola. They have a habit for these specials in casting people who would make fantastic companions and waste them. They did it with, I can't remember what the episode's called. It was the 13th Doctor, and it was the girl from Ghosts.
Resolution.
Yeah. What's her name?
Uh,
Charlotte Ritchie?
yeah, Charlotte Ritchie.
Yeah. Like, as soon it was this pretty much the same POV for me. I'm like, you've wasted a really good actress there. Like, they
100%
could have
agreed.
done so much more with Nicola. And I feel like they've kind of shot themselves in the foot because she's fantastic. Also, the fact that they announced Nicola as the companion and not the other woman.
Yeah, that's a good
Hmm.
point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fair enough, she's not like a named star, so to speak, but she she was pretty much the companion for the Doctor for more of that episode than Nicola.
Yeah, I like as I'm gonna come in and be like the token Irish person here, but I do feel it's very much like it's I like as much as I really love the special because it really had elements from like, oh yeah, this type of writing I love. The way that they've done Nicola's character, it just seemed very off. It's like, guys, why does it seem like you took another Irish actor into Doctor Who and just gave him a very like relegated him just to the plot device?
Mm.
Like,
Kind of basically like they did with Aisling B in Was it Revolution of the Daleks?
One. That's another one. She would have made a fantastic regular.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Mm. It very much seems like I don't know who it is. I don't know what like who's saying what, but I'm noticing a team here, guys, and it's not very positive. Like, but
Irish companion wise, we've only had Molly, as in the audio Molly. That's it, isn't
Mm.
it?
Pretty
yeah,
much,
Mm.
yeah.
and I mean even then like that's like I look at it like I know the actress. Like I've seen her in another show there.
Ruth.
Yeah, like Root. Root's been in stuff for RTE here, and I mean it's obviously you could see the pattern of where she would go to greater stuff. Like I think it's just very I don't know. You just see very much like it's they didn't try to do more here with Nicola, which I just it was why like at the end I was just kind of like you got someone who's like literally been nearly the heart of Bridgerton for the last year. Like she
Mm.
has been on everything from every bus stop poster to like the little teasers to whatever they've been and even on TikTok, right? I don't follow Bridgerton, but my God, have people been putting her as the kind of front person for the show in terms of female characters, and I'm like, and Doctor Who just takes takes the actor and is like, yeah, we're just gonna give her this thing, and we're just gonna focus on this other story where the Doctor hangs out with this person for a year, which is obviously, honest to God, if they'd gotten anyone else, would have been fine. Like I would have looked at that story and be like, I love this, but the fact that they only did ever so much with this actor who they were aiming, like everybody's saying there, who was aiming as the main companion, it just like felt like very kind of underwhelming in that fact.
Mm. I think the problem also stems from the fact that it's almost a sort of tradition with specials that they get a guest star and then almost underuse them. Classic examples being Timothy Dalton in End of Time, Ian McKellen in The Snowman. They're meant to be those big names, and they're almost relegated to cameo roles. And I think you hit it on nail on the head, Abby, where you said you could have done so much more with her. And personally, what I would have done is I would have done almost, funny enough, similar. You mentioned Molly, almost similar to how they did Molly. Is she departs from the Doctor, but then he meets her again, and I would have said you could do almost a trilogy of Christmas specials over the next few years, where every year the Doctor runs into Joy, and
Mm.
they re-meet, and then you just build her character a little bit more. I'd almost be inclined to say you could have done it so she already knows the Doctor in this episode, and then the future ones we see the first meeting, but you're moving into River Song-esque territory there. But they definitely underuse the character. There's a lot more that they could have gotten out of her character, certainly.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
won't, I mean, if I can say one thing about the ending that I don't know why, right? But it felt very much like it was when I saw the ending, I was looking at it and I was just like, why am I getting this feeling? Like it's not I'm trying not to have it as a criticism, but it felt more like watching that ending felt more like watching a CBBC show than than something like that's not, that obviously,
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I can't explain it either, but I understand what you mean.
yeah, I was just there like like I'm loving everything else, but this one thing is just just really catching me off guard.
Hmm.
Connor
Mm.
was saying about how you would have changed the order of the episode, Connor. Do you remember?
Yes. Well, I was actually just thinking while listening to Jimmy and Aidan as well that I have another idea of what I'd do with it. But for now, I'll say the original.
Tell.
The original idea I had was that I'd have it be that the pre-titles are that he gets locked in that year,
Yeah.
and then you can have the flashback to everything that led up to it, like they did, and then it just cuts back to them, Anita and the Doctor sat in that hotel room having a coffee.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Hmm.
wow, what a story. He goes, yeah, so yeah, like like when when he runs down to the reception desk and asks if they've if she's got any work. You could
Yeah,
have done that,
Yeah.
and then
Hmm.
you could have done that, had his cheeky grin again, and then that would have been your pre-titles.
Mm.
Um, I would have just moved it that because it felt like a bit of a pause in the middle. And it should have been that I feel Anita been furthermore introduced to the Time Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they give her a job at the end, is because she's also a hotel manager and she now knows what the Time Hotel is. She never leaves Earth, which is what I feel is also a missed opportunity. I feel like Anita and Joy are two halves of one person in a way. Like,
Mm.
because the intro has Joy coming into this hotel and Anita's there. But I don't understand, if Anita's there, why don't we just follow Anita? Um, I think I don't know if it's a balance of trying to cast a relatively unknown and then a relatively known um uh, actress, for both of them. So you have the balance between the two. I imagine it's also more of a marketing thing as well. But I did just think of now I'm trying to remember what it was. Um which I can't now, which is really annoying. I did have a second idea. I had a second idea whilst I was listening to Jimmy and Aidan talking. I don't know why that's wiped my brain. Maybe I'll remember it in a bit.
It'll come back to you.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it was about like shifting characters around anyway. Whether or not, and like I think it's a bit difficult because I still see and need to enjoy a two halves of potentially two halves of what it is with Christmas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do overall represent being alone on Christmas. Um, I am not entirely sure on the ending still. Because well, I mean, I suppose to an extent, they've just introduced more gods and monsters into this series. So having Jesus, the Son of God, potentially be canon. Um, I don't know if it's obviously more of a joke, I imagine, but
Yeah, I think the
it
thing
would
that gets
line
me with
up.
that, I think the thing that gets me with that is, uh, no, I'm not gonna.
I mean, like,
What are you gonna? Hang on, no, 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 no. We're gonna interrogate her. What are you gonna say, Abby?
Say, like, it would be, they would have got an Irish actor in to do a religious story. It's so cliche, and that shouldn't have been the case. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
we have to remember Moffat is the one who wrote this.
This is also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, that actually brings up two points. So I was going to say, technically, you say about Jesus being canon is it kind of it's already been done as well, because there's a line in Voyage of the Damned where the 10th Doctor actually says, "Oh, I got the last room at the inn." So it's like, okay, so that's obviously a reference to that.
true. But anything that
Yeah.
Tennant says is you can always play off as a bit of a.
Exactly,
I don't know if that's true or not because
but that's
he's so.
why that's what I like about that is it's done to actually play about with it, whereas this one is kind of sort of emphatically saying, no, there,
This
we've
is
showed it to
Bethlehem
you.
in the year one,
Yes, in the year one.
and
Um,
there's three camels next to a campfire.
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, but the other one as well, and this until you reminded me that Moffat wrote this, I was going to say, but this is a very Moffat thing to do. Is they had this whole thing of where she asked the doctor where he gets all his little police boxes, and he just says, "Oh, for some reason, there's loads of them online." And it's like, okay, what you've done there is, I get it, you're making a joke about merchandising and stuff like that, but the thing that annoyed me about that was that it's been established, that the TARDIS pops up throughout history. There's images of it on hieroglyphs in pyramids or in the stained glass window in The End of Time. And I'm pretty sure one of the expanded media novels introduces the idea that the reason that police boxes as a feature, an actual thing, exist is because they were modeled on the TARDIS, which is sort of a little mini paradox when you think about it. But it's the idea that the TARDIS has ingrained itself throughout history. And I like that idea, is that's why the police box image is there. But I almost felt like the whole thing of the Doctor just going, "Oh yeah, there's loads of them online." It felt like a cheap joke about merchandising. And maybe this is just me reading too much into it, but at the same time, I thought it's kind of ironic when you consider, especially in these days, how dire the merchandise is.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, like Jesus Christ. I mean, even try to get your hands on in Ireland, trying to get your hands on the Doctor Who figure is
Yeah.
next to impossible.
But the only other real criticism I had of the episode was the whole COVID
Oh, well,
thing.
that was going to be my next point. Yeah.
And
Um,
the problem is, so initially I would turn around and go, it really bugged me that they put it in there and then it was so on the nose and you're trying to make this, you're clearly trying to point, this big, sort of push this political ideal saying, the people that made the rules, blah, blah, blah. And I'm inclined to complain about it, but in the defense of it, Doctor Who has always been about raising real world issues and things like that. I mean, you look back at classic example is you look at a lot of the the pro feminist narrative of, is it the Monster of Peladon or one of the Peladon episodes, the classic one where you've got the young princess and she's sort of
mm.
trodden on by the people, the men she's supposed to be ruling. And I love that. I love the way they put that commentary. That's the word I was saying, that sort of commentary in. So I can't fully have a go at them for the whole COVID thing because I understand why it's in there. And also, it's worth noting that Big Finish with Stranded already did the whole COVID thing as well. So it's not like it's a new thing.
I think
But
because obviously the way the show operates, Big Finish can operate its own canon, but it's not necessarily confirmed if it's canon. The fact that the TV show has done it, which is its primary
yeah,
audience, confirms it, I'd say. But yeah, I kind of just I don't know. Like I've not got an issue with it within the story. I did find it a bit odd now that I'm assuming she was saying, oh well, she was saying about what had happened to her mother that night after the call.
mm,
But now I've got a slight worry going, so what actually happened was that you killed her.
Mm.
yeah, and it's also the fact that it's just that whole ending bit. It's a lovely sentiment. I love the sentiment of that, as in like they finally get to be together, and it sort of brings that story full circle, and it's lovely. But every time I've looked at that scene and when I've rewatched it, I've thought, but how?
Yeah.
How are you doing that? You haven't explained how you're able to do that and what's really going on. And I just feel like it's one of those things that it's almost just crowbarred in there just to give a bit of happy resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think I do think the COVID thing was. I personally, I feel like that was too soon. Personally, um,
Yeah, fair.
that's
No,
just
it's
me.
not. No, it's not. I think that's. No, I know. I think it's one of those things that it was definitely a bit too soon. But I also think it's one of those things that it is going to speak to people differently. And I
Mm.
think so. If I can equate it to something, it's an often debated, controversial point previously from the 13th Doctor's series is when she has her little talk with Graham and he's
Yeah.
sort of voicing his concerns. And the thing I've always said about that is I can understand that people have a problem in that scene and I can understand the people who don't because it depends on which side of the conversation you're on. For someone who is perhaps going through the same thing, the way she reacts is going to be quite difficult. But at the same time, I've known people who've been going through it and they've had those sorts of conversations with me, and I've not known what to say to them. And so it was relatable in that sense. But I think this COVID one's very much the same. I think if you are someone who didn't go through anything with COVID, either you didn't have it or you didn't know anyone, you didn't lose anyone to it, it's not going to necessarily stand up as it's not going to mean a lot as a scene. But I think if you did go through it, it's either going to really sort of resonate with you or it's going to annoy you. I don't think there's a middle ground really.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I think it was to commend, it was a very brave choice to do narratively. Um, but again, I think it's hit or miss. It was a hit or miss, and I think it's a difficult one to be able to find a ground on. But in many ways, I think that's not a bad thing because it opens, when it's good, it opens discourse to discuss things like that. And I think for something like COVID, it is something which a lot of people are still dealing with. It is something which a lot of people are still struggling with, they're also still struggling with the after effects of it.
Yeah.
And let's be honest as well, the whole commentary of saying the people who were telling us what to do and they had all their parties. Let's be honest, it might have been one of those things you heard it on screen and you're going, oh, that sounds really political and it's up to date. But let's be honest, Joy was saying what a lot of us were thinking at the end of the day. And it's you can't really have a go at them for that because you think actually it's nice that they've acknowledged that. It's not trying to sort of poke the bear. It's just saying what everyone's thinking.
Yeah.
I realised something, right? And Jimmy might remember this. I'm sure shows, especially ones on before the watershed, they used to do trigger warnings.
Yeah, they do sometimes at the beginning of the tannoy.
Yeah, because I honestly feel like
that could have done with one.
Should have had a trigger warning, especially as it was on at like 6 o'clock.
Or at the very least, you should have had something at the end that did that if you've been affected by whatever's internet, etc., etc. No, that's a really good point, especially when you think about it. For example, on Christmas Day, where let's be honest, there are going to be families out there who are not going to have members of the family there for perhaps that very reason.
That's my way of thinking.
That's a really good point. I hadn't considered that.
You all get together to watch Doctor Who because that's what insert person's name here used to do, and then it's not.
That's a really good point. Really good point. Yeah.
For it to be morbid, but come on, BBC. But think about your viewers.
But this is exactly my point. It's good that that's in there because it's made you think about things like that, and it's opening up this sort of discourse, which is, again, a positive discourse. We're able to talk about it. We're able to criticize it, but we're able to also understand it. And obviously, you are going to get people out there who are going to perhaps take the criticism a bit too far and take that a bit too far. But if you can have this kind of discourse from that episode, then it has done its job. As much as it might annoy us and feel like they've tried to crowbar in politics, here we are having the discussion, which is what they intended for it, the effect it to have. So
yeah,
piano, Easter egg doors.
Yes. I was literally watching those going back and forth all over them, thinking, "Oh, that one." Yeah,
I think what's been named. There's a Hobbit one.
There's a Hobbit one.
There was a Mr. Ben's armor thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else there was. There was loads, but I can't remember them all.
Oh dear.
Go on, Con.
This isn't good for your section, is it?
No. Doors, yay.
Anyway, I guess we'll move on from the doors.
I will say the one thing that I think over the episode is definitely the standout is the Doctor and Anissa's 1 year together. Like
absolutely. I would have loved the whole episode of that, to be honest. Like just an ordinary nothing happens episode.
Oh, do you know what it could have been?
What?
He picks up the starseed. People are chasing him, and as he shuts the door, the Time Hotel closes, and maybe instead the hotel will become free again in a year's time. But he's cut himself off from the TARDIS, so he has to spend a year whilst trying to figure out what the starseed is, and then be ready to fight them when they eventually come through the door a year later.
Yeah, like he can prep for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it
was interesting.
Silurian man.
Yep, I was just about to say that. It's interesting to see the Silurians back. It was what was his name? It was the actor who played Anderson in Sherlock.
Yes.
He played the Silurian, and he did really, really well. It was nice to see, because there were tiny little bits where some of the aliens and background actors were used to be in some previous Moffat projects. So it's a nice little cameo.
Yeah.
But I know that I remember when this trailer came out during Comic-Con and we were at the TT Getaway. The trailer came out and I just went, "Oh, there's a Silurian in this episode. Do you reckon Madam
Free man and his dog, who could possibly have messaged me about the fact that there was a Silurian in the trailer, did. I swear down, I had messages on Facebook, I had messages on Instagram, I had messages on X. Like it was actually crazy the amount of people. Have you seen this? I'm like, yes, I do watch the Doctor Who trailers.
And then
But
we were teasing you there, we're going,
oh no,
I
everyone's
wonder if
going
I wonder
like,
if Fastra's going to be in it.
oh, flipping Neve, as in like Neve McIntosh, who normally plays all the female Silurians. It didn't help that she posted a fresh picture of her in Silurian makeup, and I'm like, why would you do this to me?
I mean,
Don't do this to me.
I mean, you don't know. That could be for the spin-off.
No.
Okay, do you want to know a couple of bits of trivia? One of them you're going to love, and one of them you're going to absolutely hate.
Oh,
Bring it on.
hooray! Let's play this game.
So I've did a quick Google, as I do, and looked up the trivia section for notes on TARDIS Wiki for this episode. So it says the the Time Hotel features a clothes store called Mr. Ben's Any Era Clothing, a reference to the character of Mr. Ben. In the end credits, Ben, spelt with a double N, is also revealed to be Anita's last name.
Yes, it is Anita.
I'd never noticed that, so that's what I
Yeah, I
quite
didn't
like.
know that one.
I quite like the idea that Mr. Ben is canonish to Doc, but this is the one that might. So this is typical Moffat. In the end credits, the name on the passenger, the name of the passenger on the Orient Express is revealed to be Sylvia Trench, the same name as a James Bond side character from the 1962 movie Doctor No, with Stephen Moffat confirming his intent was to be the same character in a minor crossover appearance. So technically, Doctor Who takes place in the same era as in the same universe as the Bond films, is
So
what he's saying.
So Bond, Mr. Ben, Hobbit.
Which annoys me, because now I've said that. I really wish I hadn't said that, because now you're going to be constantly getting people going, see, Bond's a Time Lord. It's like, no, he's not. Stop it.
Bond, Mary Poppins,
Yeah.
Willy Wonka.
This is why it's why when obviously Disney came in, like I knew that there wouldn't be really much crossover, but like I'm also of the fact of yes, lads, well, Doctor Who can be everything. It can't be everything, because trying to do that is like it just be trying to the logistics of it are just too rough to get through.
Yeah. It's a bit like when you try and make characters one and the same of another character, implication for future podcast.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. What other Easter eggs are there, Jimmy?
Funnily enough, the wiki actually doesn't list that many.
Oh,
Failed.
Yeah.
I know the Hobbit
that's
door.
not good.
Yeah, obviously it makes a point of saying about the fact that they rather grimly, I thought, make the Kennedy assassination a possible destination to spend Christmas.
Wait, what? Do they?
Yeah, at the very beginning of the episode, they mentioned that you could go and spend Christmas at the Kennedy assassination.
Your favourite assassination.
Oh
Yeah.
God! Also, there was that thing back and forth about those brochures being made from AI a little while ago, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So,
Were they made from AI? Was it confirmed?
It doesn't say. Wouldn't surprise me if
in
they
a
were.
world where my child's school is currently teaching them how to use ChatGPT, probably.
He will learn the way of the skibbity slice sigma, bro.
You start.
But
Capping, Abatha's capping.
I did have a thought about one way, like the episode, like you could work the episode out for like both characters. Just have them both together. Just have it where Anita joins the Doctor and Joy, like in that way it's sort of a trio rather than a duo. Like I think it's what I miss from the show, like because one of my favorite series is Series 10, where you have the Doctor, Bill, and Adol, and I know there's something about a trio that could definitely work. And I know
Also underrated, man.
I'll tell you what I would have done if I was Moffat. I would have done as a post-credit scene. I would have had the Doctor walking back into the Time Hotel, going, "Come on, gentlemen, this way. I'll find you somewhere." And he walks in with 3 men and 3 camels, just to be annoying, because it's like they've already shown them on screen. We've already established there's no room at the inn, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Doctor let the 3 wise men stay in the in the Time Hotel.
The concept of this Time Hotel, it's like you can go see your favourite assassin or stay in an unimpressive, depressing hotel room in 2024.
Yeah, also that's a good point.
Like, what?
Well, I mean, we got to look at this from a certain perspective. some people are going to look at that 2024 hotel room and think it's a paradise. It's the same, like,
That's also true.
perspectives are different. Like people, like, someone from, what is it, the like 1700s could look at that room and go, oh wow, everything is so, up to date and whatever. And and the current person's like, this is
Yeah.
this is
No,
shit.
I say saying that though, like, because I'm a social historian. Apparently, that's my official title. Um, so me as a social historian, say if I was from like the 2200s, I would want to see a bland hotel room in the middle of quotation marks London. Um, so no, I do get that. I do get that. Will they find a new place to like? I know they filmed Doctor Who in Cardiff. Everybody knows that, but everything they shoot is in like a square mile. I'm sure, like literally, I followed this guy on TikTok, and he showed where the hotel where they shot the exterior hotel was, and literally you pan the camera ever so slightly to the right, and it's where Rose worked and the snowman fell on top of 14,
Yeah,
15.
it's the outside the
Like,
old House of Fraser.
yeah, no, literally. Like they
Yeah.
just seem to shoot, and I'm pretty sure as well, if you span around, it was the cafe from Into the Rain from Torchwood. It's like, mate, we get you're filming in Cardiff, but please just use a different road.
And I mean, it's the thing now where it's like, lads, you can go to other places to film. Like it's not like you have to stay relegated to Cardiff. Like I know it's
Such a like that this is where we want to be type thing, isn't it? As you can spread your wings ever so slightly. It's like,
I
but
mean,
we're comfortable here.
so it's a very Russell thing, isn't it? Because Russell was in. It's like Cardiff for everything, Cardiff doubling for everything, and then Moffat came in. It's like, right, we're going to America, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And then Chibnall came in and he did bits here and there, and he went to quite a few places. Yeah, but obviously he went to where was it? Did they film Rosa in South Africa or something?
yeah.
I know they went all over there, and then Russell's back, and it's like, right, where are we going? Cardiff.
Yeah, because they shot Demons of the Punjab over there as well, didn't
Yeah,
they?
exactly.
That's why,
Yeah, and then Russell just comes back in saying, "Where are we going? Where do you think?"
Deaf.
I think it's going to be a thing where I think more newer people are going to come in and be like, well, we can't just stay in Cardiff because it can't double for everything. I mean,
Oh, it can.
Well, Jimmy, the one notable thing that
I think the thing is, if you've never been to London, fair, it can just about pass for London, but no.
Speaking from experience, if you've lived in Cardiff, you know it's Cardiff.
Oh, 100%.
Sorry, Aidan, we interrupted.
Sorry,
I mean, I
darling.
know because it's just you could like because eventually you're just gonna it's, I mean, one thing that I looked at, and this is from 2008 or 7 when they were filming, like when they filmed Fires of Pompeii, they had to double in the Welsh countryside for I think the was it the mountain?
Yeah,
Yeah, the last shot. Yeah, that's the
And
word there.
even then I'm looking at that and I'm like, lads, there's you could come on, you could have worked out any
Yes, the
like
whole of the rest of Fires at Pompeii was shot in Italy, so
mm,
don't know but abroad.
the other thing that I want to mention as well is, as much as I love the character, I did think, what, why was Ruby there? I literally, I feel like they showed her just to reference the fact that she's still around.
I think
I really don't understand what was the point of that.
I mean, it was very much a situation where they like they normally don't do like the only time I remember them actually like having the companions be in the special after the fact is I think it's was it the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe where it was very much other characters, and then
Yeah,
the Doctor went back to see them. But this was just kind of like there
what's
was
the point?
nothing.
Doctor
Yeah,
and Widow in the Wardrobe served a point. The thing with Ruby is I feel like they put Ruby in, and then the fact that they made her call her mum, it was just kind of like, hey, yeah, you remember, she's got mum now. Remember that whole thing, and it's like, yeah, we do remember. We're still angry about it.
Yeah, I think it's a thing of because this episode is classed as part of the season 2 filming now.
mm,
She signed on for another series. There were some things apparently that came up during the filming. I don't think we've ever. I don't know if we've ever discussed it on the podcast before, but there were things that had come up which meant that apparently there was some emergency that came up that meant that Millie Gibson couldn't be in the series as much, which is why nobody talked about it when it happened. When people started noticing that Ncuti was filming with another companion.
There was a lot of misinformation, we should say as well. That
Yeah, yeah, there was a ton
we
of
don't
it
know
too.
we don't know exactly why. I know there was a
No,
lot of people saying quite a few negative things for which there was no proof. I feel like I should get that
no,
out on our podcast just to be clear.
no. Of course,
Yeah,
of
and
course, of course. Yeah.
like, it was a situation where like, I can imagine the team were kind of forced into kind of back into a corner where they're like, well, we have to kind of put something out like a statement. Like that's what
Yeah.
Well, the
he
thing is, they left it for I feel like how long? It felt like months, but I get the
Mm.
feeling it was only really 3 to 4 weeks.
It
But they
wasn't that long, but it did feel
no, but
longer.
it was longer in terms of the news circuit, in terms of how news and how reactive it is nowadays. It was an eternity, really. Um, Everyone was just saying, "Oh yeah, Millie got fired because she's a diva and all that," and then I saw somewhere someone reporting that she had a personal emergency and
Mm.
wasn't free. Now, obviously, again, that could be more misinformation. There was tons of it, but that would explain why she's appearing in small bursts. Um, I think like because again, I'm judging this off of IMDb now. She is apparently in episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the next series.
Yeah.
But yet we keep hearing rumors that she's only appears from episode 4 onwards. I do wonder if it's a hint to a future theme of maybe Ruby trying to contact the Doctor but failing.
Mm.
are we gonna go on to talk about the teaser trailer for season 2 now, or are we gonna keep on
We
the
could, yeah.
episode?
We can talk about it. It was technically, I mean, even though technically it happened after the credits, but technically a BBC One trailer, we can still talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
technically they've worked the story out. Like, I think from where when I looked at the trailer, I thought, okay, I'm getting a very big sense that they're gonna not the doctor and obviously new companion Belinda are not gonna be able to get back to Earth for a while. That there's a fort like that he is. It's like a Tegan Javanka situation. He's trying to get her back, but they just can't get back no matter what. Like they always keep getting.
yeah. She does seem to be insistent on like, no, you take me home now, and it looks like there's an issue with it.
Yeah, I do. I will say I am actually kind of happy about this type of companion. That it's someone who doesn't want to be a companion. That it's someone who's very much.
I think that's been missed, yeah, for quite a while. What was the last companion we had that didn't want to be there?
Um,
Obviously, probably Tegan.
I could have sworn there's a new series companion who was a bit like that.
Okay, I'm
But
not gonna lie. I literally don't remember the season 2 trailer at all, so I've literally just muted just so I could rewatch it.
oh, very well, very well.
But no,
Um,
yeah, there's quite a bit on there I'm interested to see because I completely forgot we see Ruby working at Unit or seemingly at Unit now as well.
yeah.
Scaro is possibly in there at the beginning, but we don't know if it's actually Scaro
No,
or
no,
not.
nowadays with who it looks, if it looks like it's something but isn't confirmed, then it probably is just something that looks identical to it.
Probably.
No, we were just saying, Jimmy, like about how when was the last time we had a companion that seemingly didn't want to be there? Because Aidan was mentioning how Belinda seems to just want to go home and not be traveling.
Hmm.
And I was trying to think about who was the last companion who was like that. Abby said Tegan, but I don't know. I get the feeling.
Technically, Donna during her first appearance, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
uh,
And Martha during series 4.
yeah, but I mean, this is the first full series companion.
Yeah, someone who's been introduced to the TARDIS, and well, I suppose you could argue as well to an extent that Ryan, Graham, and Yaz.
That is true.
Yeah, they kind
They
of got
yeah
abducted into it.
they never even saw the TARDIS, and they were already abducted. They just needed to go home, and then it was only when they got into the TARDIS and travelled that they actually I think it was at the end of Rosa that they actually said that they'll stick around.
Yeah,
But the doctor took them
Hmm.
home anyway, and that was the point. But it sounds like anyway, it sounds like like Aidan, you were saying, Belinda doesn't quite want to be there, and so Aidan's theory is that TARDIS might not be able to go to Earth.
Yeah, and I mean,
Maybe.
What I'm hoping for is I don't want a companion who's from the modern day. I'd like
Yes. Oh God,
it
yes.
looks like she's going to be from the future, like an out of time period companion. To me, is what I've been asking for ages. You know,
It's the thing I've always said. They can be from the future. They can be future Earth, past Earth. They can be alien. Just don't make them modern day.
it's
Does
so tedious. It's so
yeah.
repetitive now, and I get why they do it. They do it so that the audience have someone that they can connect to. But
Mm,
I feel like we're beyond it. People watch it now for the Doctor, not necessarily for the companion. You know.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
but also the companion is our link to it.
Mm,
So they do need to be somewhat relatable. So it's about, but nowadays with how I think media runs and how people read into characters, it's not necessarily about, oh, why I relate to this person because they're from the same time period. It can sometimes be just about making them likable
mm.
and having something, even though they're from a different time period, having something in there that you can relate to. Like
It's like
if it's like a backstory element, that's
I
what.
mean, but even ones like Jamie and Zoe, classic example. One from the future, one from the past. But they're relatable characters because they're still in the same position as the audience. Zoe might be from the future, but it doesn't mean she knows the past in the same way that Jamie's from the past, so he doesn't get a lot of the future stuff. So the audience is very much in the same thing. The audience might get the modern day stuff, but it doesn't mean they get anything that's off Earth. So
Mm.
I do hope that we get something with the with Belinda with that. But I'm guessing and hoping that they are going to also address the the actress's appearance in Boom, and if that's linked to her character as well.
I
mm,
don't know. It depends. They made a link with Martha, but
Yeah,
And Gwen.
but it's also
oh,
worth bearing in mind with Martha and Gwen, they were never intended to be reappearing later, whereas this we already knew that I can't remember Belinda's actress's name, um, but we already knew that she had been cast as as a companion before she appeared in Boom, if I remember correctly.
Wasn't she cast just after Boom though?
Oh, just after maybe. But either way, I feel like it's one of those things. It's so close that I wonder if there is going to be a, it's like if they've cast her in Boom and then she's cast after as the companion. It seems like it's almost
Yeah, that's
too
the way I
much.
read it. I feel like it's kind of like a Philippa Jackson type thing from Big Finish,
Right.
where she just gelled and gotten really well. So they were like, "Hey, wanna come back as a companion?"
But I
But
feel like it's so close that they sort of it'd be interesting to see how they are gonna
I
reference it
mean,
if they do.
it does strike me very much like I this is weird that I've only realized this now. It's very much similar to like now her motivations with not wanting to be in the TARDIS are very different, but she is very similar to Martha in the fact that she works in a medical position, and this
True.
is and this is Russell's second series. But I think what I'm thinking as well is the fact that Russell might have used Ruby, and I don't. This is me not trying to put the character and or the actors down or anything, but I feel like he put the Ruby character in for season one or series 14, as whatever you want to call it, as a sort of an in for the audience to say that
mm,
this is what normally is a companion. This is what you normally have with someone in Doctor Who. Season two is where we're going to give you something a bit different, a bit more like out in the universe or in the future. That it's like this is what we want to try and do now, something new, something a fresher take that we've not tried before, and
Hmm.
well, or at least that we haven't tried in the modern day, and we're gonna see if it works now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. I do. I will say the one shot that did creep the hell out of me was the one with the cartoon characters climbing up the screen.
Oh, I can't wait for
Yeah.
that. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. But I have seen people turning around and saying, cartoons, it's very like a
It's
toy
probably
toy
that
maker.
that
A lot
might
of people are hinting that the toy maker is going to return because of it, and it's like I don't really,
no
I
no
don't
it'll
see
be
that.
It'll be one of the gods. They've already
Yeah.
said that this episode is from it's meant to be set in the 50s, which they've already been seen filming outside for. It'll be something like the god of, I was going to say god of games, but that's Toymaker. But like, it'll be a different.
But that's what I
god.
mean. I think
It'll be
that's
a
why
different
people
god who
have been
can,
implying.
yeah, it can warp reality, as we know. It'll probably be feeding on fear or something like that, or like in fact, they got listed in the Legend of Ruby Sunday. It's probably going to be one of them.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like I've seen clips from that filming, and I've seen a certain individual is on site filming for that or was filming for that, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just take this with a pinch of salt,
Hmm.
just because I'm like, I don't know if that's meaning what this episode is going to be about, but we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want, not right now, but obviously, Aidan, text me who you think it is because I'm intrigued to know now, and obviously I don't want you to say it on the podcast unless we bleep it.
But
No, don't say.
Yeah,
Because
don't say it.
it's going to take me
Yeah,
forever to
don't,
find this
yeah,
in the,
no,
in the
don't.
overall recording.
Uh, um,
But yeah, but overall, obviously, we've talked about the season 2 trailer. But overall, Joy to the World. How does it rank for you in terms of other Christmas specials?
See, I'm one of these people that my favorite Christmas special was the Dream Crab one, so I know I'm quite controversial when it comes to favorite Doctor Who Christmas specials anyway.
The Dream Crab one is the one I didn't watch for 8 years.
oh yeah, you mentioned that.
I have to say, there's one of the few Christmas specials I rewatched this year, and that does stand up. So I'm with you on that one, Abby.
It is very underrated. Everybody gives it hate, and I don't know why, because
And,
I
let, and let's
thoroughly
be
enjoy
honest,
it.
again, another episode where Shona, perfect companion that we never got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was meant
yeah.
to be, I think.
Yeah,
Again,
she's supposed to be a companion. Also, Dan Starkey's in that as an elf,
Yes.
so it makes me very happy. But anyway,
Automatically good.
so yeah, I wouldn't say this is one that I'd go back to and watch. Well, let's just say I was watching Joy to the World with my brother-in-law and my brother, and after it finished, they were like, "Shall we watch Snowmen?" So that says it all, really.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
my experience watching the special was horrid on Christmas Day.
oh god,
Yeah. So I said because all the family were in the dining room and kind of there's another separate seating area in there. So everyone was in there and I went, I'm gonna go into the living room and watch Doctor Who. And they were like, oh, that's fine, that's fine. So I just tried to keep out of the way. And my dad said, oh, I'll come with you. Let's see what the new show's like and stuff. And I said, okay. We went in, sat down, and then basically one of my family members has had a baby recently. Well, say recently, last year and a half. And baby comes running in and does not leave and does not be quiet.
Ah.
And I'm sat directly next to the baby. And then my dad stops watching and decides to play with the baby. And I'm sat there, and then everybody else follows because the baby's in here now. And I'm now sat there with the entire family sat next to me, talking in my ear, basically. And I can't recall the time I've ever been angrier watching an episode.
I feel like that should have been I feel like the moment where you should have gone, maybe not, is when your dad went, oh, can I join? You should have been just like, I'm just gonna watch it myself. We can watch it
Yeah, but
later.
my dad's favorite hero was John Pertwee. He grew up with
Oh.
him. I couldn't take this away from him.
I know, but the baby did.
Yeah, but it's like because I think when I was a kid I had to deal with families talking and stuff, but they were like away. I had never had to sit with someone just shouting in my ear for an hour whilst I try and understand what's happening in front of me. I had to rewatch it in the end just to kind of, and I realised I'd missed so much because I was just being talked to in my ear the whole time.
Yeah.
But then everyone conveniently disappeared when Wallace and Gromit came on.
Well, I mean,
Could you have done that? I was like, could you have done that earlier, maybe?
I mean, to be fair, like for Wallace and Gromit, that's got to be a bonus, like to what happened there. Like that's something kind of reward.
Jeez.
Jeez, Gromit.
I personally would say, if out of 10, I would rate it a 5, but a strong 5 that I think is going to get better as I rewatch it. I think it's one of those episodes that I'm going to rewatch it at Christmas when I decide to rewatch the Christmas episodes, and it's kind of like if I leave it long enough between watching it again, I think I'm going to learn to appreciate it. I'll tell you what, this is a very odd analogy, but bear with me on this. So, obviously, I'm assuming everyone here has seen Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Mm.
So that
No.
was one of those. Okay, that was one of those films that when it came out, everyone was just constantly going on about how it was brilliant, it was hilarious, it was really funny, and I'd always sort of in my head got it into my head that it was one of those films it was never going to live up to its hype. So I put off watching it for ages, and even now I sort of still in the back of my head think it's all right as a film, I'll watch it and things like that. But then when I do watch it, I do think actually this is really good. Why don't I watch it more often? And I feel like that's what Joy to the World's going to be. I'm going to watch it at Christmas and rewatch it at Christmas, and I'm going to think, do you know what? Actually, yeah, fair play. It's growing on me.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. It's going to be a good. It's going to be a good classic Christmas. I think it comes back to what I said at the start. Really, I think it's going to
Mm.
be one of those ones that I'm going to put it on when I just want a nice, simple Christmas episode that's not doesn't need any backstory to anything else. I don't need to have rewatched any other episodes beforehand. I can just put it on and enjoy it for what it is.
Hmm.
I think
Yes,
like
that's so.
I think if it's, I mean, I always look at a Christmas episode that like, do I get kind of a bit of Christmas joy out of it? Like that, I kind of, it does. Like, I mean, even when I listen to Chimes of Midnight, I get a bit of Christmas joy out of it because it still has the warmth of the Christmas story.
Chimes.
But I know. But I think for this, like, I think Shooty really did kind of bring the Christmas spirit with him in this kind of one. Like, I did feel like, you know what, I'm watching this Christmas. Most Christmas specials are always going to have a bit of like, just a bit of fun with it because it's Christmas. And I think, barring some stuff that just like, barring very underused characters and a few other little bits, it was actually really just really nice. It was just nice.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way I could put it. It was just a nice special to watch, you
Hmm.
know?
Yes, indeed, indeed. When I finally watched it back, I was able to enjoy it. I feel like things could have been slightly reshuffled, that's all. And it would
Yeah.
have, and even then you could have kept the story the same, but just moved the pre-titles, everything that happened down a bit.
Hmm. I think it's
And
interesting that for an episode we've got a lot of criticism of, we're all actually quite positive about it.
yeah, that makes a change.
I mean, it's like I do think Moffat is kind of back in a sort of like one episode I did think of when we were recording this podcast about like comparing it to this episode is I think it was the Doctor Mysterio
Hmm.
or and Husbands of Ever Song, where it's very much the Doctor on his own.
You were doing so well mentioning chimes and then this.
Wow, wait. But it's just
Goodbye.
like but
I
there is
must leave now. My people need me.
but there is like I can just tell that Moffat still has that bit of heartwarming element in him, as much as some like because I did think with Mysterio, it's the same thing where it's a very obscure thing to throw in, but
Mm.
then the ending is like still very heartwarming because Capaldi sold it. I
Hmm.
think I love the fact that it's both Scottish doctors are the ones that can hold it, like
Yeah.
Uh,
I will say this though, it's definitely a Moffat episode. I know it was a
Oh
Moffat
yeah.
episode,
oh
but it's
yeah,
definitely a Moffat episode. It's like when we watched Boom, everybody finished it and was like, that was a Moffat episode. You can
Yeah.
tell who's writing them nowadays. It's got to that point.
I do think for next year's Christmas special, just to see if he would do it, and also because I've never seen him do it, and I just think it would be interesting because it'd be like a little trilogy of sorts. I feel like Chibnall should write the Christmas special next year,
Uh,
just to see how he would do it. I'm interested to see how that man would do a Christmas special
Hmm.
Mm.
because because all we've seen is obviously New
New
Year's.
Year's specials, yeah.
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 Uh,
Hmm.
Yes,
Indeed.
there we go.
Well, would you say that is all of your thoughts?
We get
As
yes.
far, as far as I'm aware of, until I probably think of something else.
And then
Oh,
you'll stop
well.
recording, and Jimmy, you'll go, "Oh, I forgot about this."
We'll do another one where Jimmy will just go, and to add on to last time.
Yeah, just
3
That
hours
Jimmy
later.
forgot to mention on the podcast, just
Yes.
the podcast of Jimmy going, "Well, there's this thing that I forgot to mention on this particular one."
Presenting the Jimmy addendums.
Well then, in that case, I don't think we have anything else to say other than thank you very much for listening to this new episode of the Dripping Hartnell Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Connor Chadwick, with Aidan O'Connor,
Hello and goodbye.
Abby Louise,
Speak to us.
cool, and Jimmy Wolfe.
Hello and goodbye and
You're
farewell.
broken.
Goodbye, everyone.